You can support this podcast at patreon.com/partnersincrimemedia.
I'm Kevin Flynn, and this is a bonus episode of These Are Their Stories.
You think you know who did it, but you don't know who did it. Law and order, law and order, law and order. It's no ordinary police procedural, baby. It's the FNOG of police procedurals, baby. Law and order, law and order, law and order, law and order. These are their stories, these are their stories.
Welcome to this bonus episode of These Are Their Stories. I'm Kevin Flynn, your host. Remember, last episode we watched Season 19, Episode 8, Intent, and it was essentially a two-parter to this past week's, I guess they call it now the winter premiere of SVU. And so as we were going along, people on Twitter were like, well, are you going to review Part 2? And I was like, damn it, didn't think we were going to do that, but I think we really have to. So I'm going to bring on two special guests, and we're just going to riff a little bit about what we liked about this Part 2, which is the title is Gone, Baby Gone. You know, obviously they spent a lot of time in the writer's room trying to come up with that title. And a lot of people out there in the Twitter sphere were moved by Mariska Hargitay's scenes, but there still was a lot of batshit crazy in this. Okay, I'm going to bring in our regular panelist, Rebecca Lavoie. So, Rebecca, we find out that Grandma Sheila turned out to be the kidnapper.
That's such bullshit. First of all, half the episode took place in New Hampshire, which is basically like the Super Bowl for us when SVU comes to New Hampshire.
Yes.
Because we get to make fun of all the stupid things they're getting wrong about New Hampshire, and also like all the weird tropes about New Hampshire. Like apparently in New Hampshire, everyone has floral bedspreads and like, those little stupid sink skirts.
Hey, I didn't see any difference between New Hampshire and West Virginia.
It's true.
When they did that, except they just didn't have a really good bar where Rollins could go fuck somebody.
That's true. That's true. Although their like geography was hilarious. But anyway, the whole thing was bananas. And here's why. The conceit is that Brooke Shields, a.k.a. Grandma Sheila, hired someone to kidnap Noah from the department store where she had taken him to buy a winter coat. Now, during the investigation for Noah's kidnapping, she disappears. It is literally the worst plan ever. Like, why didn't she just take him when she took him to the grocery to the department? Why didn't she just take him when she took him to the department store to buy the coat? Why come up with this whole fake kidnapping conceit when she's just going to disappear anyway and everyone's going to figure out it's her in 5 minutes?
Yeah, if your plan is to like drive into Canada,
just leave.
I mean, you're close enough where it's like, you know, we're going to stop at this cabin in the woods and take it. It isn't like they were driving to Mexico.
In the amount of time it would take to take him to Neiman Marcus to buy a winter coat and like all the other stuff they were probably doing that day, having lunch at some restaurant, doing some like grandma-grandson things. The Montreal border is like 8 hours from New York City. Like no, or as they said in this, with the badge, 4 hours or whatever they said in this episode.
Yeah.
The stupid plan. Stupid, like, execution of it. And the fact that at the end there was, like, that weird, awkward, like, I know you're a bad guy, but let me hug you thing. So strange. So strange.
Yeah, couldn't they just say, like, we're going to have can we do a sleepover and then just disappear? You would have given yourself 12 hours.
Exactly.
Having to set this whole thing up, we're like, I'm going to turn my back.
With the random dude from Derry, like the random lawnmower guy, I didn't get it. I didn't get anything about it.
I was live tweeting. I couldn't believe how many people said they were crying uncontrollably across America. I think people
are BSing. I don't think anyone is actually like, when they say...
I don't think so. I think people were really moved. Because we know if you've been watching for years and years and years, like Mariska's one I want to be a mother.
All right. So here's the thing. Mm-hmm. There was one famous episode arc in SVU a couple years ago, the Lewis episodes.
Right.
That ended with the two-part episode where Lewis, played by Pablo Schreiber, basically kidnapped Olivia, made her relive his other rapes and murders, and then it was like he was keeping her in a house tied to a bed, and he was clearly gonna like kill her and rape and everything her. And there were a lot of people on Twitter. It was the first time I saw people like it was like save Olivia or whatever, or save Benson was that episode was actually tense because we actually didn't know if Mariska Hargitay was coming back. Like it hadn't been announced that there was going to be another season.
Yeah.
There were some real stakes here. This is a mid-season trash fire of a plot line where, like, we have a grandma who's younger than Benson competing for these affections. They're having dinner together. She's getting plants delivered to her Airbnb. All this stupid bullshit detail stuff.
Right. And by the way, there were no plants.
There were
in
no
that
plants.
Airbnb.
And how pissed is that Airbnb host that she just took off and left all of her shit there?
Well, it looks like Mariska got her Emmy submission scene that she was hoping for.
Yeah, but we did not get the payoff scene that some of us were hoping for, which was that Mariska and Brooke Shields would become a couple. We didn't get that.
Now, I don't know if that was the payoff scene. My payoff scene was like a slug right between the eyes.
That's right. You wanted
Bang!
But
yeah.
you wanted that for Noah. Not
Oh, right. Yes. So I think apparently Twitter seems to be happy that Noah's alive, including the actor who played Noah, who at the exact moment his character appears on television, he tweeted, "There I am."
Yeah, that wasn't him. That was some adult tweeting
But
for
I
him.
know, but it was his dad, whatever. But God damn it, timing is everything.
Timing is everything.
Okay. All right. So that's all right. So I'm glad we could kind of close the loop on that. Thanks for those who watched quickly so that you would be up to date. Maybe we'll do that again in the future.
I hope so.
We're going to bring in one of our most important and most esteemed guests from Tomato Nation and previously TV and the Blotter Presents podcast, absolute SVU expert, Sarah D. Bunting. You were able to carve out some time in your life and watch Wednesday night's SVU, right?
Yes. And I had to watch it live just so that I would understand the meltdowns that I was seeing on Twitter.
All of a sudden, your Twitter feed is like, why is everybody crying?
I know. What's with all these frown emojis? I don't get it. Oh, wait. I get it.
Now you get it. Okay, so we have, the cliffhanger, and it's Noah has been kidnapped. And so the first clue they get on a suspect is find a guy with mutton chops.
I know. And then here's my favorite thing about the mutton chops is that I was like, they look so fake. I can't believe this show's budget is so budget that they couldn't find a guy with mutton chops in New York. And then the whole point was that they were fake.
Yeah. He was walking in profile, and you could see they weren't really sticking to his face.
No, they definitely weren't. It was like a high school production of John Adams. It was bad.
I'm glad they finally pulled them off, though, because you're like, oh, thank God. NBC can't be that cheap.
I know. They really can't. I mean, or can they? I don't know.
I guess. So here's my question. If you were a writer or producer or even a criminal here, why stage a kidnapping to get this kid? Because that's literally what Olivia Benson does, is investigate kidnappings.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And also, if you have TV in the world of the SVU verse, why do you want that kid? He's such a dumbass. Like kidnap one that doesn't wander into the street, maybe?
Well, I think it's the principle of the thing. It's Ellie's kid or, whatever. I'm cuckoo bananas. I must have the child and go to Canada because that's way better.
I guess. I mean, was it your impression that we were supposed to see this coming all along? Like the minute Brooke Sheila showed up?
Brooke Sheila. Oh, I don't know. I mean, you just know, like, she's not going to be part of the cast forever. They're going to find a way to get rid of her.
I wish it hadn't been this way, and I wish that the way they'd gotten rid of her is that Noah had perished, and she'd been like, well, I guess I don't need to hang out with Liv anymore. Bye.
Well, we talked about that in our last podcast episode, that, if you just want to sort of get rid of the Noah storyline, this is the perfect time, because in some ways Noah is like this distraction from the character of Olivia Benson, because it's always like getting in the way of her career, and it's like she's got to stay out late to get the rapist, so the babysitter's got to stick around, and it gets tiresome for some people.
It is deeply tiresome for me. As my esteemed colleague Linda Holmes put it on Twitter, the decision to make Noah a focus of this show is one of the more mystifying own goals of TV plotting. Like, I guess I get it. It's season 19. Hargitay is an executive producer, and if this is what she wants to do, and they want Liv focused storylines for the star. Like at this point, she's the star, and everybody else is just kind of, the rest of Destiny's Child, which is too bad. Nothing that they're doing with her makes organic sense out in the world. Like if you look at the Mothership franchise, as much as I loved Van Buren, she was in the cop shop lieutenanting and not out running around in her stack-heeled boots with her gun drawn all the time. Her kids were involved in one storyline, but that was like a interesting, well-told story in which they witnessed her shoot a guy that she thought was robbing her.
Yeah. And then they always made their bed without being asked after that. When you see mom blow somebody away, it's like, okay, I'll clear the table.
Like, I think I should get more allowance, but after the last kid asked her for money, I think I'm just gonna...
You're the older one. You ask her.
Leave a note and then go stand on the roof.
Yeah. Okay,
see what happens.
So Noah does come back, and everybody does a lot of rushing to the car. They go back to where it was like, why you keep going back to the office if only to like suddenly grab your coat, say, oh, you have to run to New Hampshire.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about you guys when they headed to New Hampshire. I wondered if that was a shout out of some sort and how you guys were feeling about being incorporated into the... Because look, every time they go to Jersey, I'm like, oh, here we fucking go.
I mean, why did now? Okay, so Noah walks away with this kidnapper who's really this private eye, like they know each other, and then there's this fake out with a bus ticket, and it's like, why not just go all the way to Canada? Why stop at some cabin that it's going to take the police about 20 minutes to figure out that you own property someplace else?
Yeah, I didn't exactly understand that either. Like I was so I was actually more annoyed throughout by the fact that Dodd Sr. was not like putting his foot down with Liv being anywhere near the investigation. So like she's off on her own and of course finds the cabin because she's, the best at cop. But if you think about it, like especially if they're getting into Canada via that route, it doesn't actually take that long to get there. Like as I said, I'm from Jersey, so I drive faster than some, maybe. It's not like this 2-day trek. It's not like you're going to Mexico. Like it's just right there. It's an afternoon in the car.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah. Don't stop for hamburgers.
Yeah, no.
Now, Barbara comes in and he's like, I'm going to use the law to find Noah because it's my superpower. Well, because what else can he do?
Well, and I'm also going to stand really close to Liv and look really intense, and then I'm going to do it again at the end.
Yeah, in case she faints.
Yeah, or I'm supposed to kiss her now, I guess. Like I feel like they're going in that direction, and I'm just bracing for it, terrified.
All the shippers are like, this proves it. This proves the Barson or Ben Barba, whatever the ship name is going to be. Like, they secretly have something for each other. And now because she's weeping, nothing says like sexy time than when a woman is weeping over the kidnapping of her adopted child. It's like, now's the time to make my move.
Well, this is actually how she and Tucker started getting together, kind of, is that she was like held hostage during like a push-in kidnapping situation in which once again she failed to clear a doorway because she's the best at cop.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, I think people are really into this potential pairing of Benba. I don't know what we're supposed to call it. I think it's Barson.
Barson. There you go. Okay.
I'm like, I keep thinking of that line from Ocean's 11 where he's like, he's with Tess now, but she's too tall for him. Like, no, it doesn't. It's not working.
Now, you were following on Twitter, and so was I. And I love, first of all, Julie Martin, who's the executive producer, showrunner. I'm not sure of her title, but she tweets like all these crazy hashtags. Like, there was one like where Finn makes like gives a guy a dirty look, and it was hashtag ice face. And
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And then she'll just tweet like at the perfect moment, like, I'm scared. And it's like, didn't you write
wrote
this?
It.
Yeah. Why are you scared? You have Alzheimer's?
Yeah. Also, Have you ever watched TV before? Even if you didn't write it, we know they're not going to kill off the kid.
This weekend, I've been watching, the USA SVU marathon, and we see some of the, they're quasi-Amarasodes, because this is the transition where there's a couple of episodes where Amaro's been exiled, and Carisi comes in, and he's, he certainly looks like he's from Staten Island. This also overlaps with the continuing Noah drama and people going after, baby Noah and Ellie, the mother, getting killed. And I just, was struck by how every one of those episodes ends like with Olivia holding baby Noah and sort of kissing him and saying like, nothing bad is ever going to happen to you again. And of course, it's like a series of unfortunate events. Shit happens to this kid all the time.
First of all, stop bringing the Maloik on the kid. Like every time you're like, I'm going to keep you safe. Completely safe, and then it's like a roaming lightning bolt over here, and it's like, nope. It's
like God said, hold my beer.
I totally. Or the writers are like, hold our collective keg, I guess. Yeah. Could someone please make a parody Twitter account that is Lucy, the nanny? Because I feel like that character has some shit to say about all of this. And I would like to hear it. And I don't want to have to write it because I am too busy.
Yeah.
So, universe, hear my cry. Someone make a Lucy Twitter account. I will follow it with all of my podcast accounts and hold it in my heart like a child.
Sarah D. Bunting, thank you so much for playing along and giving us your instant analysis of Gone Baby Gone.
I'm always happy to vent my outsized spleen at late stage SVU. Thank you so much for being my therapy about this episode.
Well, I hope you liked our special bonus episode looking at part 2 of that 2-parter. Thanks for going back and watching part 1, and kind of felt like the teacher who gave homework and didn't correct it. We will have a regular episode coming up next week, and that is going to be on, might as well tell you, SVU Season 4, Episode 11, Damaged. It's the one where the sister kind of plans her sister's murder after giving her chlamydia in a weird sex thing. Okay, it's crazy, and you'll love talking about it. Remember, you can tweet to us about this bonus episode or anything at Law & Order Pod, and follow us on Instagram at These Are Their Stories Podcast. Remember that These Are Their Stories is recorded in Studio C and is a production of Partners in Crime Media.
Partners in Crime Media.